Good morning, everyone. I'm Liliana and today we are here in Long Beach at the Aquarium of the Pacific. We are going to be exploring the steelhead trout exhibit, and we're also going to be seeing some amazing shorebirds and learn the connection between the LA River and the Pacific Ocean. So let's go.
Hi, my name is Jen. I'm an education coordinator here at the Aquarium of the Pacific. As you can see, we are open here at the Aquarium of the Pacific, so feel free to come on and join us. Just make sure you make a reservation before you head on down. You can check out a lot of really great animals here, including our steelhead as well as the shorebirds, and check out some penguins. At the aquarium here, we do have safety measures in place, including our face coverings as well as temperature checks. So we do keep all of those in mind, as well as social distancing. And also, please go on ahead and check us out on our social media for any kind of updates.
This is very exciting. What are we entering into right now, Jen?
We are entering into our Wetland Exhibit here. It's actually one of my all-time favorite exhibits to check out. That's because it really kind of connects the river to the ocean environment. And so it's a really dynamic habitat where we have a lot of our shorebirds here. The wetlands can be a nursery for many of these animals. You'll find a lot of the baby versions here, and then eventually they'll move out into the ocean.
Why do they have the babies in the wetland area?
It's kind of a safe space for these animals. So even though there's a lot of birds that we can see that are hanging out above water and that do go below water, you can see we have a lot of vegetation that is underneath. And so it provides really good protection for a lot of these animals.
I don't even know where to start because there's so many great birds here. So I guess I'm noticing that there are birds in there where their bill goes upwards.
Yes.
So what kind of birds are those?
Those are avocets, American avocets. During the summertime, they'll have more of a rusty kind of coloration to them.
Yeah, I've definitely seen them more with that like peachy color on like their belly.
That's their summer plumage. And
Okay.
currently they're transitioning more into their winter plumage, which
cool.
is more of that muted white, grayish kind of coloration that we're currently seeing there.
So what other birds in here are commonly found here in the area?
Well, I would say this friend right here. So this is one of our ruddy ducks. And it's really neat because it's completely opposite than many of our other birds that we have in here. I think when people a lot of times think shorebirds, they think that long, slender neck or that long, slender legs, that really long beak. But this one actually has the complete opposite.
Yeah, so looks like a little donut floating through the water.
That is a great observation.
And the other two ducks that are right behind this little guy, are they the same species or?
Great question. Different. So that one right there is a bufflehead.
Oh, okay.
And the way you can tell that's a bufflehead is because of that white patch that's kind of behind their eyes. It's almost like a little streak.
Now we have one of my most favorite birds, the snowy egret.
Yeah, I would say it's an absolute perfect shape right here, actually. Has that kind of stocky white body with that white plumage. Its beak, it's more pointed and black in coloration. But then if you look at its legs, also black in coloration, and then it has those yellow feet that you see right there.
That's my favorite part.
Right, exactly.
Little yellow feet.
I think my favorite fact about them is that they use those yellow feet to kind of move around underneath the sand, which enables them to be able to kind of pique the interest of some animals that are nearby that they might want to munch on.
Oh, so it's like a lure.
Yeah, exactly.
Smart. On the river, you find another egret as well, right? That looks somewhat similar,
Correct.
but slightly different, the gray egret.
Yes.
So how can we distinguish those two if we're out on the river?
The feet is the main thing that I look at. So our snowy egret's gonna have those yellow feet and the gray egret will not.
All of those facts are so helpful, especially for any beginner birder who's going to go out on the river. I know that shorebirds are particularly hard, so it's good to get, some of these tips of how to identify them.
Happy to share.
So you mentioned that there's connectivity between the river and the ocean. So how might the health of the river impact the birds and their health?
We're all interconnected. Yes, the ocean and the river are connected, but so are we on land. And so I feel like it really kind of starts on land and understanding the infrastructure that we have built, but also our impacts throughout our everyday lives.
This is really cool. What are we looking at right here?
This is our Watershed Exhibit that we have right here. It focuses on all of LA County as a whole. Whenever it rains, Anything that's directly on land eventually makes its way out into the ocean.
We always talk about even just stepping outside your front door. If you accidentally drop a candy wrapper, that's going to go into the storm drains in your neighborhood. It's going to travel, enter the LA River, and then eventually make it all the way down to the Pacific Ocean. Everything is connected, which is why we have to do our part to make sure that we have a healthy ecosystem, a healthy river, a healthy Los Angeles. Whoa, oh my God, it like really rains. Let's go check out the steelhead now.
Sounds great.
Steelhead really serve as indicator species for Friends of the LA River. If we can bring the steelhead back, then we know that we have achieved something great on the river and have rehabilitated it to actually be able to host these wonderful and sensitive species.
Absolutely. What I find really interesting is how almost kind of mysterious that they are, because here we see, our steelhead, but they also look similar to rainbow trout, and that's because, of course, as you know, right, they all kind of start out all in fresh water. Some of them will go on ahead and stay in that freshwater habitat for either a handful of years or their entire lives and remain rainbow trout, or they might make that adventure out into the ocean and turn into our beloved steelhead. And so they're steelhead, they're considered anadromous, meaning that, they live freshwater at the start, saltwater, and then when we turn back to freshwater to lay their eggs. And I think they can do that up to about 3 times or thereabouts, so they can make that transition to and from.
Yeah.
They are the primary indicator species of happy, healthy river systems.
Seeing these fish here really get me thinking about what kind of changes need to be made in the river within our watershed to help bring these species back.
Much like other river animals, they definitely need kind of the vegetation that's found in normal rivers. And a lot of times too, just happy and healthy water quality as well.
In downtown LA, they're doing a fish passage study, figure out how we can create more sustainable habitat. Because we went in and put concrete throughout the river and its tributaries, it really created a harsh living condition for these fish. When we're thinking about the future of the river, thinking about how we can create a more naturalized river, deconcretize some of the river, and rewild it. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We were able to explore the mountaintops of the San Gabriel Mountains and see the different fish and make our way through the watershed down to the beautiful ocean. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so very much for having me today.
Finding Feathered Friends is made possible with the support of Postmates and Toyota Financial Services.